President Biden is leading a diplomatic boycott of the Beijing Winter Olympics. American athletes will be allowed to compete, but the White House has announced no US government officials will attend. Live to our reporters who are covering all of the developments on this morning. First to Annelise Nielsen in Washington, D.C. Annelise, this is a major escalation of diplomatic tensions between the two nations.
It is indeed. It's not a full boycott. The athletes will still be allowed to compete, but the language used by the Biden administration in announcing this boycott is quite significant. They have singled out genocide in Xinjiang against the Uyghur Muslim minority in China, but they've also talked about broad human rights abuses within China. Now, what's really motivated this over the last week has been the disappearance of the star tennis player Peng Shuai after she accused a senior Chinese Communist Party official of sexual harassment and abuse. After that, her profile quickly disappeared offline. She disappeared from public. The International Olympic Committee has been in touch with her, but they haven't been forthcoming with details about who set up that call, what the restrictions were on that, and that's increased pressure on the Biden administration to act. And so after months of speculation today, they have announced that there is going to be a diplomatic boycott of the Beijing Winter Olympics and Paralympics.
The Biden administration will not send any diplomatic or official representation to the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics and Paralympic Games, given the PRC's ongoing genocide and crimes against humanity in Xinjiang and other human rights abuses. The athletes on Team USA have our full support. We will be behind them 100% as we cheer them on from home, but we will not be contributing to the fanfare of the Games.
The spotlight should be on these athletes, not on a handful of politicians who have been shouting boycott to advance their selfish political gains. Whether they come or not, no one would care, nor would it have the slightest impact on a successful Beijing Games.
Pete, a desire among American government officials to try and push back against the increasing aggression of China has been a unifying factor in Washington. It's the one thing that brings Republicans and Democrats in line. They're still trying to push for some strict trade legislation to be passed by the end of the year that would put pressure on China as well. And so this is all coming to a head at the same time and improving that impetus to counter China in diplomatic ways.
Annelise Nielsen, appreciate, thank you. Let's go to Canberra now, and we're joined by political reporter Andrea Crothers. Andrea, what has been Australia's response to the move so far?
Well, Pete, we know that the Australian government has been weighing up its options over this matter, but so far there's been no decision made on whether Australia will be represented at the Beijing Games, diplomatically or otherwise. Now, Liberal Senator Eric Abetz, he's pushing for Australia to join this boycott in a statement saying that the decision by the United States, our close ally and friend, to diplomatically boycott the Beijing Winter Olympics is a most welcome move, and one in that Australia must follow suit. Australia must not be complacent, but move with speed to demonstrate our long commitment to upholding human rights and calling out where they are breached. So we do know Australia was one of those 20 countries that refused to sign that United Nations Olympics truce last week, but the pressure here will certainly be on for it to do a step further, particularly off the back of the United States decision, Pete.